thing. But we've also reasserted the credibility of American deterrence, which is like no other. The
So-
people at NATO said there's never been anything.
This is the press
entire
conference
military during my first term. And
that this clown is
we have
giving
great military, we have great generals. I got to know the good ones and the bad ones.
at the NATO
We kept
summit.
the good ones. Over the past 2 days, I was honored to participate in the NATO leaders meeting and also had extremely good individual discussions with the King and the Queen, Secretary General Rutte, and the Prime Minister. Great discussions.
I mean,
Very
embarrassment
knowledgeable people. Major
on a
focus
global
of our
stage.
conversations at the summit was the need for other NATO members to take up the burden of the defense of Europe, and that included the financial burden. As you know, it was at 2%, and we got it up to 5%. And they said, a couple of them came up to me, one in particular said, "Sir, we've been trying to get it up to 3% for 20 years, and we haven't been able to, and you got it up to 5%. So they're going to be, most of them, I guess almost all of them, are going to be contributing now 5%, the number that people are surprised at, but you need it today. The United States accounts for 2/3 of all NATO defense spending.
Yeah, because of
Since
what
I
you
began
allowing to
pushing
happen
for
over there.
additional commitments in 2017, believe it or not, our allies have increased
Yeah, I
spending
don't
by
understand
$700
that.
billion. I said to people, you don't have any money, and a lot of them weren't paying. And so I started the process, and I picked it up as soon as I got back, which is 6 months ago. And following my
I
election
did.
last November, almost all
Donald J.
have
Trump,
accelerated plans to reach
the President of the
2%,
United States.
3%, 4%, and then ultimately, very quickly, 5%.
That's his signature now.
And all of this is going to be done very quickly, almost immediately. You probably know this as well as I do. I'm sure
Everything
they've been
is done
talking about it.
quickly.
It's really been a big focus.
Unless it's going to be in 2
very
weeks.
historic milestone this week. The NATO allies committed to dramatically increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP, something that no one really thought possible. And they said, "You did it, sir, you did it." Well, I don't know if I did it, but I think I did. This will be known as the Hague Defense Commitment.
You think they're laughing with
It's
him?
pretty appropriate. When the allies reach this number, it will add more than $1 trillion a year.
This is the
Taking that
lowest
$1 trillion per
America
year
has ever sunk.
to our common defense, and this is a monument, really, to victory. But it's a monumental win for the United States, because we were carrying
Absolutely
much more than
not.
our fair share.
Just
It's
the
quite unfair,
opposite.
actually.
It's a
But this is a big
monumental
win for
failure
Europe
and a
for
monumental
actually
loss.
Western civilization. For years, past administrations failed to get most allies
My
to contribute, even the 2%. I remember when I came here, we had 4 countries that were up to 2%, and I remember Poland was there. A couple of them were there, and but most of them were. We were 28 at the time, as you know. It's increased a little bit, and they've agreed now to more than double their budgets in all cases.
Because of me.
And Europe stepping up to take more responsibility for its security will help prevent future disasters like the horrible situation with Russia and Ukraine. And
This
hopefully we're going to
dude
get
has
that
no
solved.
idea
Last week there were 7,000 soldiers.
the
mostly
crisis
soldiers, but they're also
that
getting
he's
hit
about to
in
have to deal with
Kiev.
over the next 3.5
They're getting hit in
years.
some of the towns also. And that means life.
And everybody
Life is
within the sound of my
disappearing also in the
voice,
cities and towns. Should have never happened.
if
Would
you
have
hear
never
this,
happened if I was
remember.
president. Said it 1,000 times.
When I told
And it
you,
never did happen. It's never even thought about.
this
It
guy,
is vital that this
he has
additional
no
money
clue.
be spent on very serious
He has no clue.
military
He
hardware,
think he's in a movie.
not bureaucracy, and hopefully that hardware is going to be made
He's
in
playing a
America, because we
character
have
in
the
a
best
movie,
hardware in the
guys.
world. You saw that where 14 missiles were shot at us the other day, and
This is the apprentice
they were
on
very nice. They gave
steroids.
us warning. They said, "We're going to shoot him. Is 1 o'clock okay?" They said, "It's fine." And everybody was emptied off the base, so they couldn't get hurt except for the gunners. They call them the gunners. And out of 14 high-end missiles that were shot at the base in Qatar, all 14, as you know, were shot down by our equipment. Amazing stuff. Amazing that they can do. It's like shooting a bullet with a bullet. It's the same thing if you think about it.
He's sitting there
14 out of 14. and
embarrassing
They
himself
weren't even that surprised. I said,
in front
"You
of
do
all
that
the world
well
leaders.
often?" They say we pretty much do, sir. The Ukraine
And it's
crisis
the NATO
has
leader.
also highlighted the urgency of rebuilding
And look at
our
these two
defense
minions
industrial base, both
standing
in the
there
United
beside him.
States and among the allied
Both of them
nations. We cannot
uncomfortable.
afford to be dependent on foreign adversaries for critical minerals. And as you know, we made a deal with Ukraine to take a vast amount of the land they have.
They're like
for
two kids
minerals. We
of
need
Boy
it.
Scouts
And once again, I want to thank all of the people in the
standing
NATO.
behind the Boy
incredible
Scout
people.
leader
It's a
as he
great
speaks.
place. And all of the NATO allies for the
Look at
tremendous
Rubio.
summit that we just had.
Can't be still.
A letter just came in.
Uncomfortable as
A
hell.
statement came in from the Atomic Energy Commission of Israel. And I just wanted, this is an official letter, and they're very serious people, as you know. The devastating U.S. strike on Fordo destroyed the site's
painful to
critical
watch, guys,
infrastructure,
but I gotta
rendered
document
the
it.
enrichment facility totally inoperable. It was devastated. We assess that the American strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities has set back Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons for many years to come.
Yeah. 100 on
This
10.
achievement can continue indefinitely if Iran does not get access to nuclear material.
Did y'all
which
see
it
the
will.
pictures of the bombing sites?
It's so sad
before
that
and
the whole thing
after?
had to go. But
I mean,
just
for
want to
real,
thank our
man.
Pilots, you know, they were maligned and treated very.
They want to talk
badly
about
by
conspiracies on 9/11
CNN,
and
which is back
how
there,
George Bush
wasting time,
blew up the
nobody's
buildings
watching,
downtown.
so they just wasted
Come
our
on, man.
time,
If y'all ain't bringing
wasting
up
my time.
the question of
And
those
the New York
pictures,
Times, they put out a story that
we on
well,
some different
maybe
shit.
they were hit, but it wasn't bad. Well, it was so bad that they ended the war. It ended the war.
The
Somebody
war just
said in a
beginning,
certain
dude.
way, you know, that it was so devastating. Actually, if you look at Hiroshima, if you look at Nagasaki, you know that ended a war too. This ended a war. in a
See,
different
he's
way.
trying
It was so
to boast
devastating. Also, they
so
have,
he could say he
out of
created
Dubai,
peace, so he can get that Nobel Peace
just
Prize.
came that Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, this is Iran's foreign ministry, says it's near
It ain't gonna work, no.
its nuclear installations were very badly damaged by the American strike. So
Very badly
what
damaged.
bothered me about these reports were fake reports put out by the New York Times.
I can go wreck my car,
I thought the failing
and my
New York
fender could be
Times
very
is so
badly
terrible.
damaged.
Without me, it would be doing no business at
But the
all.
car is still gonna be
But,
operational.
and by fake news, CNN and MSDNC, all of these terrible people, you know, they have no credibility. You
This
know,
is
when
on
I
the world
started, they were
stage, guy.
94% credibility, the media, now it's at 16%. And I'm very proud of it because I've
He think
exposed
he's
it
at a
for
MAGA
others.
rally.
But, when I saw them starting to question the caliber of the attack, was it bad? Well, it was really bad. It was devastating. They were obliterated. In fact, you can't get into the tunnels. They just put that over. That just came out. They can't. There's nothing. There's no way you can even get down. The whole thing is collapsed.
His
in a
speech
disaster.
and articulation
And I think
is
all of
so
the nuclear
limited.
Stuff is down there because it's very hard to remove. And we did it very quickly. When
He
they
speaks
heard
in
we were
such
coming, it
simple,
was, you can't
simple-minded
move. Very hard,
terms.
very dangerous actually to move to. And they also knew we were coming, so I don't think too many people want to be down there knowing we're coming with the bunker busters.
With
as
the
we
Rubio.
call them. We're the only ones that have them. We have the best equipment. Best
That's
nuclear
a
equipment,
tick.
and we have the best
He's
equipment in the world. And
uncomfortable
by the way, we can't forget
with that
our
scratch to the
submarine,
side of the head.
which was out there, submarines actually, but submarine was out there. We shot 30 rockets into an area, every single one of them. I think it was almost 400 miles away.
This is the
maybe
president of the
400,
fucking United States of
and
America
long. It was in the ocean, long ways
in the
away.
year 2025.
And we shot a total of 30. Every
This is
single
what we've
one of them
come
hit
to.
Within 9 inches from where it was supposed to be. It took it a lot. Because we didn't do just Fordo, we did 2 others in addition, which hadn't been completely destroyed. So we hit them with a submarine from hundreds of miles away. Amazing, just amazing equipment. Greatest submarines in the world. Nobody's even close to 20 years behind us when it comes to submarine technology.
Look, man.
So that's one, and the other was from the Atomic Energy Commission, and they have about 3 or 4 of them now coming in from Atomic Energy Commissions from various places. But the one that we have that just came out, we released it a little while ago, was from the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission, but numerous of them are getting to see the site, and the site has been demolished. And again, we had these brave patriots, these incredible flyers, these people
We're
that
witnessing
can fly a plane better than anybody can
a
fly a
pure
plane, going into very
meltdown
hostile territory, flying into the territory that
of an
has got
American
more
president.
missiles and things pointed at it, but it was very
On a
stealth.
global
They didn't
stage.
get to see it. It was dark. That's the amazing thing about the shots. They hit the shots perfectly, and yet it
And
was
if you didn't
dead
see
dark.
it-
There was no moon. There was no light. It was virtually.
I have another video
moonless.
that I
It
recorded
was very dark,
yesterday
and they hit the shots
of
were
his
hit perfectly,
departure.
But when they get to Mean, and they were very upset about it because they knew how strong it
and
would
how
be
he
back in
expressed
Missouri.
himself.
The pilots flew about 36
But even if you
hours
don't see it on my
to
channel, go
far
out there and
distance,
look up
and those incredible B-2s, and we
Donald
then
Trump's
had the
departure
F-22s,
to
and we had the
the NATO
F-35s,
summit.
and we had other planes, and we had, I think, a total
And
of
listen
52
to
tankers. That means the big,
the words that
the
that
big
man spoke.
tankers, because the refueling was a lot for all of the different planes that we sent. Incredible operation. And
He's
I
on a
have to say,
tangent.
General Raisin King was incredible. That's why
He is out
beat
of
ISIS
his
and we beat
fucking
ISIS in a matter of
mind,
weeks.
guys.
I was told it would take 4 to 5 years. We did it in a few weeks, and he was great. That's why he's the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff right now, because I had a very good
But
experience with
what's
him. He knocked
bad
out
is
ISIS
he
in a
truly
period of
believes
literally a few weeks.
what he's saying
Amazing. And it was
is
supposed to
true.
take a few years, 5 years to be exact. So we had a great victory
He's so
there,
caught
and
up
we
in
then came here,
being a
and I
reality
think we had a great
star
victory here, but this is an
that he
ongoing
thinks that
project.
fake
This is the
reality
safety
is
of Europe, the
actual
safety of the
reality.
world. And they've raised it from 2% to 5%, something which nobody. And,
And if it's not, he's gonna make
over
it be
$1
so.
trillion a year, so we're talking about a lot of money from.
And
coming
he's
in
sold
from
enough people.
countries that we're not paying nearly enough to be effective.
He's grifted
So,
enough people
I have, as you know, Marco,
to allow
Rubio
him
with
to
me.
be in
He
this
takes
position,
as
man.
Secretary of State and Secretary of War.
I don't
Should we say
blame Donald
Secretary? It
Trump.
used to be called Secretary
That
of War.
motherfucker's
Maybe
a
for a
gangster.
couple of weeks we'll call it that.
Fuck what you're talking about.
Because we feel
That
like
motherfucker
warriors.
is
He used to
a
be called
gangster.
Secretary of War. In fact, if you look at the old building next to the White House, you
I
can
blame
see
the
where he used to
motherfuckers
be
who gave them his
Secretary of War. Then we
gangsterism.
became politically correct, and they called it Secretary of Defense. I don't know, maybe we'll have to start thinking about changing it.
And they gonna be the one.
But we
Oh,
feel
really?
that way.
You gonna change the
Do you have
name
any questions, please?
of Secretary of Defense?
That's a lot of questions.
They laughing at his ass.
Who's a nice person?
They
you're not a nice
laughing
person.
at
I'll
his
let you
ass,
ask one.
man.
Go ahead. What's he gonna ask? He is not nice at all. I know him well.
He's
Thank you,
setting
Mr.
it up.
President. Thank you for taking the time before flying home. You just said you believe the conflict between Israel and Iran is over. What makes you so confident it is? And what do you do if it isn't?
Because I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently, and they were both satisfied to
So
go
you got
home
Russia,
and get out.
Ukraine,
And
Israel,
start again.
Iran,
I guess someday it
all
can,
at the same
maybe
time
start soon.
because of the
I think
bullshit.
a big telltale sign was when
This bullshit.
as you know, Iran somewhat, but not much, violated the ceasefire, and Israel had the planes going out that morning, and there were a lot of them, 52 of
And
them.
I stopped them.
And I said, you gotta get them back.
I
And they
stopped
brought them
them.
back. They didn't do anything. They brought them back. It was very good. I thought it was amazing, actually.
Clown.
They have fought a hell of a war. They fought very hard.
If I can predict
I
what
think
this
the war
motherfucker's
ended
gonna do
actually
and
when we
say,
hit the
imagine what
various
the
nuclear
global
sites
leaders,
took place.
Putin
And I just hope you people can give
and
these pilots, these are the best pilots in the world. They're
that
the best
boy in
shots
North
in the
Korea,
world. They call them shots. That's what they
China,
are. And
even Israel.
And I just hope you can give them the respect they deserve.
You
as
getting
they come home to
played
fake
like a
news.
$2 fiddle,
And
nigga.
like, oh, gee, there was hardly any damage. The things are decimated. So, but I think, no, I think they're very much finished. I think Israel's going to get back to
It is
doing
just
what
getting
they do,
started,
and I think
fool.
that Iran's going to get back. You know, Iran has
The
a huge
fighting
advantage.
seems to
They have
just getting
great
started.
oil, and they can do things. I don't see them getting back involved in the nuclear business.
be a
anymore.
bloody
I think
summer.
They've been at it for 20 years. And I don't
Believe
see
that.
that happening either. Now, if it does, we're always there. It won't be me, it'll be somebody else, but we're there. We'll have to do something about
See,
it.
it's gonna be
Yes,
somebody else's problem. See, I'm gonna
it's
create the
bad.
problem, but by the time I'm gone, shit, I'm gonna be gone.
Oh, fake news, CNN?
Understand this
Yeah,
shit.
here we go. Where do you hear this question?
Thank
You,
you, sir.
you should really say how
Get him,
great
Caitlin.
our soldiers and our warriors
Get him,
are.
I think
Caitlin.
everyone appreciates our soldiers and our warriors. I do have two questions for you, Mr. President. You just cited Israeli intelligence on these attacks. Earlier, you said U.S. intelligence was inconclusive. Are you relying on Israeli intelligence for your assessment of the impact of the strikes?
Now, this is also Iran made the statement, and it's also, if you read the document that was given, that you can talk about if you'd like, the document said it could be very severe damage, but they didn't take that. They said it could be limited or it could be very severe. They really didn't know, other than to say it could be limited or it could be very, very severe. And you didn't choose to put that because it was very early after. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site.
See those
And the
arm
site
movements?
the site is obliterated. And
That's
we
called
think
spin.
Everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out.
That's a sales tactic.
Question, please, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. Blue dress.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Yesterday you said China can now continue to purchase oil from Iran.
Yeah.
Are you giving up on your maximum pressure campaign? Because
With
there's
who?
sanctions right now.
With who?
Well, he
On
can't
Iran?
stop it.
No, look, they just had a war. The war was fought. They fought it bravely.
The war is
I'm
not
giving
over.
up. They're in the oil business.
This
I mean, I
clown.
could stop it if I wanted. I could sell China the oil myself. I don't want to do that.
You
They're gonna need
escalated
money
the
to
war,
put that
fool.
country back into shape. We want to see that happen. No, if they're going to sell oil, they're going to sell oil. They're
And
gonna
you
take
brought
over
it to the
oil. We
American
could've,
soil.
I used to say with Iraq, keep the oil. I could say it here too. We could have kept the oil. No, China's going to.
They're about to clown this
They
clown,
can buy
man.
it from us. They can buy it from other people. But you're going to have to put that country back into shape. It desperately needs money. Yeah. Yeah, please. Here we go. I'm picking the beauties today.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, Secretary General Rutte has described President Putin as an adversary, a threat, an enemy. Do you view him the same way? And in addition to that, you mentioned General Kane, your chief of staff, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
General Kane.
Yes, he has said that Mr. Putin has territorial ambitions beyond Ukraine.
He ain't gonna answer either one of those.
Possible. I mean, it's possible. I know one thing. He'd like to settle. He'd like to get out of this thing. It's a mess for him.
Spin.
He called the other day. He said, "Can I help you with Iran?" I said, "No, you can help me with Russia." Because, you know, in the last few weeks, we took care of India and Pakistan, Kosovo, Serbia. I think on Friday we have coming in.
Still trying to get that Nobel
the
Peace
Congo is
Prize.
coming in, and Rwanda is coming in. That was a vicious war. The
Talking
war,
points.
A machete war. Heads chopped off all over Africa. They're coming in. We did two others in addition to that. Nobody's ever done anything like this. No, I consider him a person that's, I think, been misguided. I'm very surprised, actually. And I thought we would have had that settled
In
He would have
24
settled
in
for him
24
in the
hours.
meantime, but he did
24
call up and he
hours,
said, you know, he's close to Iran. He'd like to help us get a settlement. I said, no, you help me get a settlement with you, with Russia.
How,
and I think
America?
We're going to be doing that too. Yeah.
How,
Go
America?
ahead, please.
Why, America?
Thank you, Mr. President. You made clear
Will you
position
sell out
on what
200
is
some
next.
years
I wanna
of
ask you what is next with Iran?
so-called
For instance,
greatness
is
for
there
this cat?
indication from U.S. intelligence that Iran was able to move any material?
Why?
No, we just the opposite. We think we hit them so hard and so fast they didn't get to move. And if you knew about that material, it's very hard and very dangerous to move. It's called, in many people they call it dust, but it's very, very heavy. It's very, very hard to move. And they were way down, you know, they're 30 stories down. They're literally 30, 35 stories down underground.
So what does that mean?
Oh yeah, we think it's covered with granite, concrete, and steel.
Can I ask you, are you interested in restarting negotiations with Iran? And if so, have they
So our people, Marco could answer this, but our people are not. I'm not. The way I look at it, they fought, the war's done, and, you know, I could get a statement that they're not gonna go nuclear, we're probably gonna ask for that.
Such
But
a
they're not gonna be
simple,
doing it, but they're not
simple,
gonna be doing it anyway.
minded response,
They've had it.
man.
Now, maybe someday in the future we'll want that, but I've asked Marco, do you want to draw, I just asked him the question as we were walking
He
down the
gonna bring
stage,
Marco
you want
up.
to draw up a little agreement for them to
And
sign?
let him
I
talk.
think we can get him to sign it.
Cause the pressure on him.
I don't think it's necessary. Marco, do you want to talk about that?
There you go. The pressure on him.
President, I think President Trump has shown a willingness to meet and talk to anybody in the world who's interested in peace. I don't know of any president that's been as
His
willing
little
as he
weak
has to
ass.
meet with anyone and talk about peace. We'd love to have peaceful relations.
I would
with
start
any
calling
country in
him
the world.
Bam.
And so obviously that'll depend on Iran's
Bitch
willingness
ass
not just to
Marco.
engage in peace, but to negotiate directly with the United States, not through some third country or fourth country process. But I know of no president.
Remember how Trump
in our
talked
modern
about him
history
during the
that's
campaign
sought peace more than
in
President Trump
2016?
has.
Little Marco,
You're in no rush. Is that right? So the door's open.
I'll tell you what.
let Pete speak.
We're going to talk to them.
Let's hear from
next
Pete.
week With Iran.
I mean, he's defense secretary, man. Shit, he's supposed to know all of it.
I mean, they had a war. They
Let him
fought,
speak.
Now they're going back to their world. I don't care if I have an agreement or not. The only thing we'd be asking for is what we were asking for before about we want no nuclear, but we destroyed the nuclear. In other words, it's destroyed. I said
Ain't shit destroyed,
Iran will
nigga.
not have nuclear. Well, we blew it up. It's blown up to kingdom come, and so I don't feel very strongly about it. We got a document wouldn't be bad. We're going to meet with them, actually. We're going to meet with
Man,
them.
how, America?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
How?
Mr. President, Netherlands TV, thank you
Wow.
for visiting our country.
Good.
As an
Thank you.
student, I of course like to know how you slept last night at the House of the
Oh, I slept beautifully.
But probably more serious question. I think you just had a meeting with President Zelensky. Did you discuss any ceasefire in this Russo-Ukrainian?
No, I wanted to know how he's doing. He was very nice, actually. You know, we had little rough times sometimes. He was, couldn't have been nicer. I think he'd like to see an end to this. I do. I think what I took from the meeting couldn't have been nicer, actually. But I took from the meeting that he'd like to see it end. I think it's a great time to end it. I'm going to speak to
Of course he'd
Vladimir
like to see
Putin,
it
see if we
end.
can get it ended. But
Putin don't want it to
these
end.
brave people that
So
fight
you're gonna do what Putin wants to
these
do.
wars all over the place. You know, last week they had, I guess, I told you, close to 7,000 young soldiers, Russian and Ukrainian soldiers were killed. 7,000 in 1 week. It's crazy. It's crazy.
You were supposed to
So
stop
I was
it in
speaking to
24
Putin. I had a
hours,
good
man.
meeting with,
One phone call.
with Zelensky, and I had a lot of good meetings. We had a lot of good meetings with a lot of people, a lot of great leaders.
Donald Trump hadn't
But
delivered on
he's
not
fighting
one
a
thing
brave
that he
battle.
promised
It's
he
a
was going to
tough
deliver
battle.
on. He couldn't even get the wall built.
Go ahead, White
You know what I
House.
mean? He couldn't stop the war. Instead, he's created two more.
Finland, Ilta-Sanomat. You have
Hell, he can't
played
even
golf
deport
with
more people than
President
Barack
Zelensky.
Obama.
How do you see Finland as a NATO?
That's killing him.
partner?
Barack
How
Obama
do you describe
deported
your
more
relations
people than Donald
with
Trump
President
has
Was a
ever.
very
You know
good
what I'm saying?
golfer. Okay. In fact,
So-
he was in his college.
So this is what he's
golf team.
trying to do.
He went to a good college in the South, as you know, very good college, and he was a good golfer. We had a good time.
Outdo and
I think
undo
my
Barack
relationship's
Obama,
Great. I want to buy icebreakers. You know, you're very good at icebreakers.
which is why he's here.
And I actually.
I just answered
made
my
an
own
offer.
damn question. That's why,
I know the
America.
Congress still trying to impeach me for this, but this
Y'all
old-
believe that shit.
It's not old, it's fairly new.
And
but
still
it's
believe in
used Icebreaker, and I offered him about.
Okay,
1/3
now I
of the
understand.
asphalt.
Okay, shit, we can move on now then.
We need icebreakers in the U.S., and if we can get some inexpensively, I'd like to do that. Actually, they'll fix it up, make it good. Also, we may buy some icebreakers. You know, you're the king of icebreakers. That particular country, they make them good. They make them really good, and they know what they're doing.
Make them really
And,
good.
So we're negotiating with them for about
About
15
well.
different icebreakers, but one of them is available now. It's old, and it's old. It's like 5-6 years old. Now we're trying to buy it. I'm trying to make a good deal. That's all I do my whole life. My whole life, that's all I do is make deals. Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Every deal
Sir,
you've
go
made
ahead.
has been a failure.
Yeah, a question for NewsHour, Dutch TV. First of all,
He's just
on
good at
Article 5,
selling the
on your way
film.
here, you spoke about the commitment of the US to Article 5, saying, I'll give you my definition once we're here.
Yeah.
What is your definition, and may the US commitment to Article 5 change in case some of the NATO members do not reach the threshold that was discussed today? My second question is following up on the colleague on Iran. What intel reports do say that everything over there was obliterated?
Yeah, well, there are numerous of those reports, and they're coming out fast and furious.
Where are they?
But the most respected ones we've already seen, and I will say that on a very confidential basis, they're looking at the reports, like numerous reports, and including people going to the site and checking the site. And they're going to be having, I guess you're going to be having over the next couple of days a full,
Yeah, let Pete speak.
encapsulated.
Let's hear from
But no,
Pete.
the site was obliterated, just like I said.
Pete
it
nervous
was.
as hell. He
And
like,
just
please
the
don't have to
pilots
call
should
me
be
Mr.
given
President.
credit for. As far as Article 5, look, when I came here because it was something I'm supposed to be doing, but I left here a little bit differently. I said, I watched the heads of these countries get up, and the love and the passion that they showed for their country was unbelievable. I've never seen quite anything like it. They want to protect their country.
So he's about to
And they
end the
need
press
United
conference.
States. And without the United States, it's not going to be the same. And you can ask Mark, or you can ask any of the people that were there. It was really moving to see it. They love their country. They were so respectful of me because I'm the head of the United States. And I made, the King of Saudi Arabia, when I was in
Anytime you
Middle
hear them up
East,
say,
so
you know,
Qatar for a different reason, not a reason to
That's
get shot at.
spin. They're
We
trying to
were
make a
there
point.
for economic development reasons, Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. All three leaders of those countries, and we took back $5.1 trillion into the United States.
that's the setup.
All three leaders said, you're presiding over the hottest country in the world. The
Yeah.
United States right now is the
Talking
hottest.
point.
Everybody wants to be there.
Talking points.
Everybody wants a piece of it. He said a year ago, your country was dead. You had a deadhead running it. You had a country that was dead, and it was dead. You had people pouring through the borders. You had inflation. You had everything. He said, you've made it in 5 months at that time. You made it the hottest country. This is the hottest country in the world. The United States right now is the hottest country in the world. And when I was around that table, it was a nice group of people.
So embarrassing,
Many
man.
of
So
whom I knew
embarrassing.
from previous, when I saw the passion they had for the country, almost everyone, and you probably have the tapes, it was very public, but almost every one of them said, thank God for the United States. Without the United States, they couldn't really have NATO. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It will in the future because now they're paying much more money, but it wouldn't work.
But it's
It was
worked
great.
all these
And I
years
left here differently. I left
before
here
your punk
saying
ass
that
came in.
These people really love their countries. It's not a ripoff, and we're here to help them protect their country. Okay, we'll do one or two more.
Yeah, he about to end this shit.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
A question on Spain. Are you satisfied with today?
Oh, I think Spain's terrible what they've done. No, I do. They're the only country that won't pay the full up. They want to stay at 2%. I think it's terrible. And they're doing very well. The economy is very well. And that economy could be blown right out of the water with something bad happening.
That wasn't
Spain
even
is
the
the only
question, though.
country that, are you from Spain?
Yeah.
Good, congratulations. You're the only country that is not paying. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's too bad. So we'll make it up. You know what we're going to do? We're negotiating with Spain on a trade deal. We're going to make them pay twice as much. And I'm actually serious about that. We're going to make Spain, I like Spain. I have so many people from Spain that it's a great place and they're great people. But Spain is the only country out of all other countries that refuses to
Kiss the ring.
and, so they want a little
Refuse
bit of a
to
free
check
ride,
in.
But they'll have to pay it back to us on trade because I'm not going to let that happen. It's unfair. It's
How is
unfair
that
to
different?
All right, sir, please. Go ahead.
For what they
The
trying
back
to,
here. You tall one. The tall man.
Convict Big U on.
Mr. President, Johannes Tertera from Austrian
I'm
National
just saying.
Television.
I'm just saying.
said that you would end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. You later said that sarcastically.
Of course it was sarcastic.
But you've now been in office for 5 months and 5 days. Why have you not been able to end the Ukraine war?
Because it's more difficult than people would have any idea.
Even you, huh?
Vladimir Putin has been more difficult. Frankly, I had some problems with Zelensky. You may have read about him. And it's been more difficult than other wars. I mean, look, we just ended a war in 12 days that was simmering for 30 years, frankly.
You just escalated
we
the war
ended,
in 12 days.
Rwanda and the Congo. It's coming to sign the documents.
That's
We've
been
already
simmering
signed
for
basic
longer than 30
documents, but they're
years,
coming, I
clown.
think, to the White House on Friday. We ended, Serbia was going to go at it. But maybe the most important of all, India and Pakistan.
Yeah.
And that wasn't whether
Spin
or
it
not
back.
they may someday have.
I brought
it's
peace.
Like we're talking about in
Give me that Nobel
the
Prize.
Middle East, like we're talking about with Israel and.
You gave it to Obama.
This
You
is
got
they
to
have
give it to
nuclear
me.
weapons. I ended that with a series of phone calls on trade. I said, look, if you're going to go fighting each other, it was getting very bad. You know how bad that last attack was. It was really bad. If you're going to go fighting each other, we're not doing any trade deal. No, you have to do a trade deal. I said, we're not doing any trade deal. And in fact, I had the general, who was very impressive. The general from Pakistan was in my office last week.
This dude is demented,
You know,
man.
Prime Minister Modi's a great friend of mine. He's a great gentleman. He's a great man. And I got them to reason. I said, we're not doing a trade deal if you're going to fight. And if you're going to fight each other, we're not doing a trade deal. And you know what? They said, no, I want to do the
Say
trade
the
deal. We're
same
stuck
thing
in a
over
deal.
and over and
Go
over.
ahead. Go ahead, Jeff. Here's another beauty, Jeff. He's a beauty, all right.
What
Mr.
kind of
President, to
clown
follow up on
is
Ukraine,
this,
will the
man?
United States contribute any more money to Ukraine's defense this year, to the $5 billion that allies are giving? And one question, you had another meeting with the Dutch opposition leader, Mr. Wilders. Can you tell us about that meeting? And are you upset about his anti-Muslim stance?
I'm not upset about it. It's just his view. He's unhappy with the way things are going in this country and various countries. He was an opposition leader. And I was asked to meet with the opposition leader by the people that are running. I think they have some deal where if you have a meeting, you're supposed to meet with an opposition leader. I said, that's strange. That's what that. But I didn't know him. He seemed like a very nice guy, but he's in opposition to the current people, and that was set up by the current people. So I assume when I met with the Prime Minister, you're supposed to meet with the opposition. We'll have to try that sometime in our country. Let's not do it. But I thought he was very good. As far as the money going, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of spirit.
Those thoughts just pop into his
Vladimir Putin really
head.
has to end that war. People
And he
are
can't
dying at
resist
levels that people haven't seen before for a long time.
expressing it.
Go ahead. White shirt. Oh, she's all excited.
So, BBC News Ukrainian.
Where are you from?
I'm from Ukraine.
Oh.
So my question to you is whether or not the US is ready to sell anti-air missile systems Patriot to Ukraine. We know that Russia has been pounding Ukraine really heavily right now.
Are you living yourself now in Ukraine?
My husband is there.
Wow.
And
I can see you very, it's amazing.
And me with the kids, I'm in Warsaw actually, because he wanted me to.
Is your husband a soldier now?
He is.
He's there now?
Yeah.
Wow, that's rough stuff, right? That's tough. And you're living here?
In Warsaw.
And you're a reporter?
I am.
Yeah. Why are you asking her a
Let me just
question?
tell you, they do want to have the missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots. And we're going to see if we can make some available, They're very hard to get. We need them too. We were supplying them to Israel. And they're very effective, 100% effective. Hard to believe how effective. And
Why haven't you given
them
them
more
to
than
them?
any other thing, as you probably know? That's a very good question, and I wish you a lot of luck. I mean, I can see it's very upsetting to you. So say hello to your husband, okay?
Wow. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you,
This
Mr.
dude.
President. You were criticizing
Where are you from?
Bloomberg News.
Oh, Bloomberg. That's wonderful.
You were criticizing the Federal Reserve Chair before coming to this summit.
Yeah, I think he's terrible.
I was wondering if you've begun interviewing different candidates for the Fed pick.
Yeah, I know within 3 or 4 people who are going to pick. I mean, he goes up pretty soon, fortunately, because I think he's terrible. We have no inflation. We have a tremendous economy. Hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff money is pouring in. Factories are being
Well,
built.
if you have no
because they don't
inflation,
wanna
why
pay
you
the
wanna
tariffs,
cut
so they're
interest
building
rates?
them all over the country. I think we're close to $15 trillion. I told you 5.1 trillion from the Middle East alone, but of investment money coming in.
You riding the
There's never been
same
anything
wave
like
that you
in the
came
history
in
of the
on
country. But we have
from
no
Biden.
inflation. And we have borrowing because Biden stupidly, they did short-term
See.
debt. So we have borrowing coming up.
Spin.
And, we'll go 10 years, maybe longer, maybe shorter, but we'll go a long period of time when we do the debt. And because of him, because of this guy, we
Blame
will
it
have
on
to pay
everybody else.
for years. We'll be paying for him. And I said to him, listen, there's no inflation. He says, but maybe there'll be some. That's true. I said,
Just like
if
the
there is
wars
some, what you do is
that the
raise
next
the rate. I'm
president
okay
is
with
going to
that.
inherit
You raise the rate in 2
because
years
of this
from now,
shit
or
you
a year from
doing.
now. But because the rate's high, we have to pay more for debt. It's pretty equal. In other words, if it's 4%, it's 4%. If you drop it a point, you'll pay 3%. So it's fairly equal, not necessarily, but fairly
Really?
equal. So we're going to end up paying maybe 2 points or 3 points more.
4 to 3 is
3
just
points would
1%,
be
really?
About $900 billion a year because of this very average mentally person. He's an average mentally person.
Average
I'd say
mentally
low
person.
in terms of what he does, low. Low IQ for what he does. Okay? Wait. So unsaid.
That is projection at its finest, man.
$900 billion. We don't want to pay 900 just because he doesn't want to lower the rate. I said, if there's inflation in 2 years or 3 years or 1 year from now, you raise the rate. You take care of the inflation, among other things. But he's
So I'm going to leave this out here for
I guess. I don't know. I think he's a
eternity.
very stupid person, actually.
Just
One more,
that
let's go. How about
hopefully
you?
somebody in the year 2500 gonna come across this shit
I'm Ana Book from La Vanguardia. I wanted to know
and understand what the hell was going on.
I wanted to know if you want to.
That's the Spain corner right there. Shouldn't have said that. That's okay. I do like Spain, by the way. I think it's unfair that they're not paying, but go ahead.
Are you
Clown.
going to negotiate directly with Spain about?
I'm going to negotiate directly with Spain. I'm going to do it myself.
About what?
Hey, they'll pay more money this way. You should tell them to go back and pay. You're a reporter? You tell them to go back. They ought to join all of those countries that are paying 5%. Spain's going to be just about the only one that's not.
How is
They were the
that
most
not
hostile toward
extortion,
doing
Mike?
that. It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay, all right, Kelly. go
I thought he
ahead.
said one more. He's
Here we
feeling
go.
himself. He's feeling himself.
There's another one.
He want to have a fight before
We
he
got them all
goes.
today.
Okay. So, Mr. President,
He's
you
looking
talked
for a
about,
fight before he
expecting
leaves
some
stage.
on-the-ground assessments at Fordo and other
Yeah.
sites.
Now, here-
Is that
here again.
Israeli and U.S.?
It's been obliterated, Kelly. It's been
What is your message then, sir, to the intelligence community when they present reports? You're not disputing the DIA report. You're just
They presented a
exists.
report that wasn't finished. We're talking about something that took place 3 days ago.
I understand it's
The report was done
So
2
what
days
is
ago. Wait a minute.
Yes.
They didn't see it. All they can do is take a guess. Now, if you take a look at the pictures, if you take a look how it's all blackened, you know the fire and brimstone is all underground because it's granite and it's all underground. You don't show it. But even there, with all of that being said, the whole area for 75 yards around the hole where it hit is black with fire. The group that's run by this gentleman, in fact, you may want to talk about it for a second because we're going to issue a report.
Pete don't want to talk.
And I think it's not even a very exciting report at this point. It's been obliterated, totally obliterated. And they did a report, but it was like, if you look at the dates, it's just a few days after it
Understood,
happened.
sir.
So they didn't see it. They said it may be very severe.
Understood. Do you have a
Yeah,
message
he ain't
for
gonna
the
answer the
intelligence
question.
community, though, in terms of unvarnished information getting to you? That it's not.
I don't really have a message. I would say issue the report when you know what happened. I wouldn't say that it could be severe or maybe not. They use the word severe. It could be severe or maybe it's not. So people like you picked up and said, oh, it's not severe. No, the report was not a complete report. Yeah, the message was probably wait till you know the answer before you...
And sir, did you not have a public component to your Zelensky meeting for a tactical reason with President Putin?
Let him answer this.
Hello, Mr. Secretary.
there's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is.
Yeah, here you go.
These pilots, these refuelers,
Spin.
these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people.
He's a
and the
one-trick
world
pony,
to take out a
man.
nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom.
He mad as fuck. He having the
instinct of CNN,
jibbies
the
because he ain't had a
instinct of the New York
drink.
Times is to try to find a way to spin it for their own political reasons.
That's
to
what
try
you
to
doing.
hurt President Trump.
That's what you
or our
doing.
country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak.
This
of course,
is
we've
a-
all seen plenty of
this is
leakers.
at
What do
NATO.
leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to
People,
introduce?
this is at
And when they
NATO.
introduce that a preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment. You know what a low assessment means? Low confidence.
Pete
in
Hegseth,
that report. And why is there low confidence? Because all
former
of the
Fox
evidence of what was
News
just bombed,
morning
12,
contributor,
30,000-pound bombs, is buried under a mountain.
Secretary of
Devastated and
Defense.
obliterated. So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel and go really deep, because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated. And somebody somewhere is trying to leak something to say, oh, with low confidence, we think maybe it's moderate. Those that drop the bombs precisely in the right place know exactly what happened when that exploded.
Yeah.
And you know who else knows? Iran.
We gonna
That's
find
why
out.
they came to the table right away, because their nuclear capabilities
We gonna find
have
out.
been set back beyond what they thought were possible because of the courage of a commander-in-chief who led our troops, despite what the fake news wants to say.
Yeah.
But you're not disputing the
gonna
report said
find
what it
out.
said, even though it was initial.
The report said what it said, and it was fine. It was severe, they think, but they had no idea. They shouldn't have issued a report until they did.
Oh,
But we
it's
got
about
the
to get
information.
real
I think he
interesting
said it
now.
better than you can say it. And you know, you should be proud, you,
Yeah.
especially you, should be proud of those pilots, and you shouldn't be trying to demean them.
No, there's.
Those pilots flew at great risk, a
Yeah.
big chance that they'd never come back home and see their husbands
Yeah.
or their wives.
See, they gotta stop letting them get away
You
with that
and
shit.
NBC fake news, which is one of the worst. And
They gotta
CNN,
start calling this punk
the New
out,
York
man.
Times are all bad. They're sick. There's something wrong with them. But you know what? You should be praising those people instead of trying to find some.
Fuck
Like
respect for his
by trying
office.
to go
If he ain't gonna
and
respect you,
hurting
why the
those
fuck you
people.
gonna
They were
respect him?
devastated. You know, I got a call from Missouri.
You know?
a state that I
That's
won
a
3
spin.
times by a lot. And I got a call that the pilots and the people on the plane were devastated because they were trying to minimize the attack. And they all said it was hit. But we don't think it was really maybe hit that badly. And they were devastated. They put their lives on the line, and then they have, and I'm not.
You put their
real
lives on the line.
scum, real scum come out and write reports that are as negative as they could possibly be.
We
You
gonna
should do
see
the opposite.
what the report
You should make
says.
them heroes and heroines. You should make them
Yeah.
really people that.
Ain't nobody
they
talking
were
shit
so
about the
devastated
pilots.
when
They
heard this news.
carried out
And
their
you know what
orders.
They said, one of them, I spoke to one of them, said, sir, we hit the site. It was perfect. It was dead on. Because they don't understand fake news, because they have a normal life, except they have to fly very big, very fast planes. But it's a shame. You should be making them heroes. All right, in the back. Go ahead, back white. Yeah.
I'm wishing they'd just go end this shit so I can turn
Yeah.
off.
Go ahead, give me a mic. Hello.
Deborah Haynes from Sky News.
Good.
Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No? He did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies
He
though
loved
as
that
kind
shit.
of like children, and they're obviously listening to you and they're spending more, and you're obviously appreciative of that. But do you hope that actually they're going to be able to defend themselves, defend Europe on their own?
I think they need help a little bit at the beginning, and I think they'll be able to. And I think they're going to remember this day.
Yeah, at the
And this is a
beginning.
big day for them.
Like the
You know,
next
this
3
is a very
years.
big day. They took it. One of the gentlemen
And
said,
then he
you know
gonna
what,
leave
we've
it
been trying to
in the
raise
hands of
money
whoever.
Raise the rate for 30 years, he said. 20
If he
years
leaves,
from
that
almost
is.
the beginning. And he's been there for a long time. He said, until you came along, it never happened. What you did is amazing. It's been sort of an amazing day for a lot of reasons, but also for that. Yeah, go
Do
ahead.
you think they can do it without you, though, in the future? Can they do it without
Well, ask Mark.
States?
You have to ask Mark. Okay? So, we're
That's
heading
it.
back.
That's
We're
it.
heading back.
That's his
I
high
wanna thank
point.
These two gentlemen
He can
behind me.
end
They're
on that.
incredible people. Both of them. They've done a fantastic job. And
That, he was
Susie's
waiting
in the
on
front, and
a
she's
good
done
closing.
Great, and Monica, thank you very much.
Point.
That was quite an exciting time. And we're going to be heading back. We'll be back soon. We'll see you in Washington, D.C. Remember this, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, terrible.
The president just wrapping about a 45-minute press conference at the end of the NATO summit, at least his time at the NATO summit before heading back to Washington.
No amber waves
Fielding a lot of questions about a range of subject matter from NATO defense spending to the war in
All right,
Ukraine.
man.
But
We'll
a
pick it up
majority of
later.
questions were really focused